This video is sponsored by Epidemic Sound. A wise man once said that 50% of the movie-going experience is the sound, and I think that applies to YouTube videos as well. And to prove it, take a listen to this. Looks great, sounds terrible. Now watch this. Same video, totally different feel. That's the power of sound. If we're just meeting, my name is Nate. I am a filmmaker turned content creator, and I've won awards for best sound design and editing, and I apply everything that I learned from filmmaking to the videos I make for YouTube. And today I'm going to give you everything you need to know to fix 99% of your audio problems, and you don't need any fancy gear to start. If there's only one video you watch on sound design, it's this one right here. So let's dive in.
You gotta just press record.
When it comes to the world of audio, microphones are your best friend. And there are many different types: lavalier, handheld, shotgun microphones like I'm using in this video. Each has their own purpose, but for this video, it doesn't necessarily matter which microphone you use, it's how you use it. Which brings me to tip number 1, mic placement. Getting your microphone as close to the source of audio, for me that is me speaking, so moving that microphone physically closer is going to sound much better. You're not going to pick up on the echoes of your room, and you'll be able to hear me a lot more clearly. Typically, you want to keep your microphone just out of the camera frame, that way it's not visible within the shot. But if you don't care about the microphone being in the shot, just getting it nice and close is automatically going to sound much better. I really like the way that shotgun microphone sounds, but if you're on the go, maybe you're outdoors, you might want to switch over to a wireless mic. That way you can move freely and still get great audio. And if you ever wondered why your favorite content creator holds their microphone out like this, there's actually a pretty good reason. It's because it sounds better. If it was clipped to my shirt, it doesn't sound nearly as nice as holding it out here because it's in a better placement. Number 2, use an external microphone. If you're relying on using your camera's built-in microphones, then you're gonna have to keep that camera pretty close to you in order to get decent audio. The minute it is further away from you, it's gonna get really echoey and not gonna sound great. So plug in a microphone to your camera or phone and you're going to have much more reliable audio since you can get the microphone much closer. If you don't have a microphone and are looking to improve your audio, you can use your phone's voice memos app, and utilizing the microphones from your phone, they actually sound pretty good. Just press record on the app. You will have to sync this up later in post, but this automatically is going to sound way better than anything that's going to be on a microphone on your camera 10 feet away. Here is a side-by-side difference between my expensive Sony camera that is about like 5 feet away versus my iPhone, which is nice and up close. Just using that voice memos app, this is such a fantastic way to get better audio without having to buy a microphone. Number 3, record in a quiet environment. Before you start recording, take a listen to make sure that you are in a quiet environment. If you are recording outdoors, it's going to be much more tricky. If there is a lawnmower, a plane flying overhead, you're really at the risk of the elements. Going indoors, you're going to have a lot more controls of your audio. One thing I always do is turn off my overhead fan since it's a little bit loud. I do keep my AC running because it's too hot here, but you could also turn that off if you need it crystal clear. But also think about your room acoustics. If it's very echoey or reverberant, that can also make the audio not sound as good. You can get your room professionally sound treated, which costs an arm and a leg, but if you are on a budget, just laying down a thick rug, maybe hang up some curtains, some blankets, can really do a lot to make sure that your audio is less echoey. One thing I would do from time to time if I was really in an echoey environment, just take a blanket, toss it over me, and this helps deaden the sound and really makes it sound like I'm in a nice podcast professional studio and not in my bedroom underneath a blanket like a 5-year-old. Yeah. Number 4, set proper recording levels. I see so many people make the mistake of buying a new microphone and they don't set any of the settings, and it might be too quiet or too loud and you hear that horrible audio clipping. It's just a nightmare. To fix this, you want to go into your camera's menu settings, go down to audio record level, Make sure that your microphone you are using is plugged in. Then you want to adjust this audio recording level so that way your voice hits somewhere between -12 and -6 dB. This is the ideal level because even if you do get a little bit loud, your audio is not going to get too loud where you're losing information and you hear that crunchy audio, terrible sound. Well, if you're thinking, well, I just screwed up and I have terrible audio, what do you do now? Well, stay with me to the end of this video. I'm going to show you how to fix terrible audio step by step. Now, once you've recorded your audio, we can take it to the next level by cleaning it up in post. Let me show you how. The first thing you want to do when your video is in your editing software is to remove the dead space. Oftentimes, I'll see a lot of creators have just a little bit of extra empty gap before they begin or end their take. So just lining this up nicely, making sure that there is no dead space and your video flows from one point to another seamlessly is going to sound much better. After that, we're going to move into tip number 6 and making sure that our audio is at an appropriate level. Now, we intentionally set our audio levels just a little bit lower so that way we won't clip our audio, but once it's recorded, we want to increase the volume just a touch. You want to increase your audio until the loudest parts of your voice is right around -3. You don't want to go too much into the red, but you do want it loud enough to make sure you are clear. To do this, I am just in the Fairlight page and I'm selecting on the track level, increasing this and playing it back to make sure that it sounds good. Now, if you're dealing with an audio clip that has a lot of background noise, we can actually fix this by using one of my favorite tools inside DaVinci Resolve, the voice isolation tool. Just click on that audio clip, go over to AI voice isolation, turn it on, and you can dial in the amount depending on how much background noise is in your video. I typically like to set this around 50 and then either dial it up or bring it down depending on how noisy the background is. So we have a lawnmower going off in the background. This is without voice isolation. And now this is with voice isolation. Can you hear the difference? Because it's pretty loud. Number 8, EQ. EQ or equalization allows you to remove or boost certain frequencies. That way you can shape your voice to sound more clear or more present. To do this, go to the Fairlight tab in DaVinci Resolve, go over to EQ, double click that. Here you want to select the band 1. This is going to remove some low end frequencies like rumble or wind noise in your audio. We can also select on this band 6 and dial this back to remove those ultra high frequencies. Now, so far we haven't removed any frequencies that would affect your voice. In fact, the human voice ranges somewhere between 80 to 8,000 hertz. So once we start affecting these frequencies, we'll begin to hear a difference. If you find that your audio is muffled, you can increase the higher frequencies to bring back some of that clarity. Now, if you find that you get a lot of echo from a table surface, this actually will help you out quite a bit. We're going to increase one of these frequencies just to identify where that sound is. Number 4, the wide shot. Now that I boosted some of that audio, I can go in the opposite direction to remove some of that audio. And now if I play it back, and getting a nice establishing shot. It sounds a lot better. Last thing I like to do in terms of the EQ is find something within the mid to high range that sounds a bit echoey. And here I identified a frequency around here. I'm just going to lower that. Again, not eliminating the frequency, but just lowering that audio. And now this should sound much better. So let's take a listen before the EQ. Here is a quick audio test using the Rode Video Mic Go 2 with no EQ. And now you are listening to the exact same microphone with EQ applied. You don't have to apply EQ to every single audio, but it is nice if you are looking to make it sound just a tad better. Tip number 9, compression. Before I leave the Fairlight tab, I like to go over to this dynamic page, click that, and turn on compressor. If you find your audio to be both too quiet and too loud at a time, a compressor will allow you to reduce some of those louder portions and boost some of those quieter ones. So by enabling this compressor allows you to kind of keep your voice within a suitable range. Okay, so now that we got the voice clean and clear, let's make the whole video come alive with sound design. Adding in music to your video is one of the best ways to add emotion and tone and pacing to your video. My favorite place to get music is Epidemic Sound, which is today's sponsor. What I love about Epidemic is how easy it is to find the perfect track. I can search by mood, genre, and even find similar tracks based off of songs that I already like. Not only that, but their sound effects library is next level. Whenever I'm adding in subtle ambient noise or a transition, it just makes my video come to life. And I never have to worry about copyright claims or restrictions. Everything's covered and I can just focus on creating. If you're serious about making better content, click the link in the description down below to sign up for a free 30-day trial. But now that you found music for your video, it's super important that you don't make these mistakes. Now, I see two major mistakes that a lot of creators make when adding music to their projects. Number one is they have the music way too loud.
Hold it, fellas. I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
I don't want to have to struggle to hear what is being said in your videos, so you don't want it too loud and you don't want it to be too quiet where you don't hear anything. So where I found to be the happy medium is I lower the music track in DaVinci Resolve by -30 dB, sometimes lower depending on the actual music that I'm using. For certain moments you can increase the volume to be a bit louder, but for background music you want to err on the side of being too quiet. Number two is they pick the wrong music for their video. If it's the wrong vibe for your video, it can be a deterrence, but oftentimes I feel that people just pick a music track that competes with their voice and can be really hard to hear what is being said. Now, I'm not going to be the one to tell you which music you should or should not use, but in general, find music that fits the tone and genre of your video. If it's an educational piece, you don't want anything too distracting in the background that is going to be annoying to your video. All music is going to make you feel a certain way, so find music that is going to align with your message or even amplify it. Tip number 11, sound effects. Remember those shots at the beginning of the video? Well, you know how I used the built-in camera microphone on those first shots? It sounded distant. It didn't sound nearly as rich as when I re-recorded some of those sound effects and placed them in that video. Hearing the subtle details of the egg sizzling in the pan or the coffee being poured just adds so much to the audio landscape of the video. Now, when I was grabbing those shots, I wasn't necessarily worrying about capturing the audio. I was just thinking about the visual. I think a lot of times we forget that audio is just as important as the visuals. So after I had recorded each take, I went back in and did the same thing, but just capturing the audio. The next time you are recording your video, grab a microphone, grab your voice memos on your phone, and just start recording some little details, little sound effects that you can use in your video to bring it to life. Now, there's always certain times when I need a specific sound effect and I'm not able to capture it, or I'm just too lazy to. That's where I go to Epidemic Sound, and their sound effects library is super great. Adding in those sound effects is not only fun, but just really takes your video to that next level. Number 12, room tone. Recording just a few seconds of clean audio allows you to place this underneath your video, and when you go to edit, you might find that there's an inconsistency in the ambient noise, and this is a great way just to smooth things over. This is more done for like a narrative short film where it can be fairly inconsistent when you are cutting between takes, but just recording that ambient room tone is a great way just to kind of bring back some of that atmosphere into your video and avoid that awkward dead silence. Okay, so a lot of the methods I explain are if you're an ideal, you get 100% crystal clear audio, but what if you just have some bad audio and you don't know how to fix it? Well, we're gonna talk about some tips on how you can do just that. Anytime you're dealing with clipped or distorted audio, one of my favorite tools to fix this is the Adobe Podcast Enhance tool. You can go to that website, we'll leave a link in the description down below, upload your audio as an MP3, and it's going to do some AI magic processing, and it's going to try to fix that audio. There have been several times where I just am dealing with terrible audio. Maybe I'm downloading a video clip and it just doesn't sound good. Well, just by running it through Adobe Podcast Enhance, you get just a much more usable audio that can save you in a pinch. Here's a quick audio test just using my iPhone's built-in microphone before Adobe Podcast Enhance. And this is after using Adobe Podcast Enhance. Now, this tool does take some time to process and enhance that audio, so I don't recommend this for every single video, but it is super helpful in a pinch. Remember how I said you could record audio from your phone and then later sync it up with your video in editing? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about right now. After you airdrop your audio from your phone to your computer, bring it into your editor, and then we need to synchronize our audio to make sure that they are aligned. Now, a super helpful thing to do is when you are recording both your video and audio, just clap, and then that will create an audio spike in your audio that you can align with that clap. And that is actually what this clapper board does. That little snap just creates that audio spike for the editor to sync up. I bet you didn't know that. Once the audio and video are synced up, just make sure you mute or disable the internal microphone on your camera that is with the video, and that way you have great sounding audio synced up with your video. Now, if that process sounds a bit tedious, there is a much faster way. In DaVinci Resolve, there is an auto sync tool. You just want to select both your video and audio clips, right click, go to auto sync audio based on waveform, and the computer will automatically do it, sync it for you in a matter of seconds, a lot faster than manually trying to do it. Number 15, ADR. If you're stuck with bad audio and no amount can fix it, there is one way you can improve the audio to this, and that is by re-recording your audio later on, matching it up as best as possible. That way it goes from sounding like this to sounding like this. That was actually way tougher than I thought it would be, but it actually worked quite well. It just takes a few extra moments to nail the performance. Woo. Number 16, Reference Pro videos. Now, if you're serious about leveling up your sound design and maybe just a bit lost, one thing that has been super helpful for me is referencing professional videos. I'll go to my favorite YouTuber and I'll just watch and listen to where their sound effects are, where does the music lie, how clear, how crisp is their voiceover, and just study and just take notes of what works. Then go back to your video and see, okay, my music is too loud, I'm gonna lower that down. That is such a great way to make sure that your audio is paired perfectly with your video. So there you go, a few tips to dramatically improve your audio and thus your video. Drop a comment down below of your favorite audio tip. And if you wanna know which microphone is best for YouTube, then check out this video right here. I know you'll love it.